A year ago, today, I was sitting in jail, just completely lost in life. Here I am, building a brotherhood and coaching men to become the strongest versions of themselves. This is my story. What's up, guys? My name is Max. I'm the co-founder of ATNIP Performance. My brother and I founded ATNIP Performance together, my twin brother. And, a little background on me. So, grew up playing sports, being pretty active, played soccer, raced mountain bikes, raced road bikes. Was always pretty competitive growing up. I was also a pretty scrawny, little skinny kid, right? And when I was about 16, that's kind of when I started taking weightlifting serious. Going to the gym all the time, learning how to, gain muscle, how to lift weights properly, how to put on weight, and how to put in the work to put muscle in my body, right? To grow, to get stronger, to look better. And growing up, I'd say one of my biggest influences, besides my parents, obviously, were super active, but just my twin brother and the competition aspect that we had, being brothers, being twins, always trying to be better, trying to be bigger. If you have a brother, I'm sure you know how it is, right? But, that really pushed us in our younger years to be better, right? To be the best versions of ourselves, because we were always chasing being better than each other. So that drive to be constantly getting better has really been there since the beginning, right? So I think that's our younger years, and our competitiveness is really what instilled in us the ability to be competitive and to have these motivations for us to, like I said, be better. That being said, I understand the grind, right? So if you're anything like me, you know what it feels like to know that you're meant for more in your physique, your health, your discipline, whatever it may be. But despite all those feelings inside of you, you keep losing yourself and you keep falling into the same cycles, these self-destructive cycles. I've been there and I know exactly what that feels like. When I was in college, I got into some pretty bad habits, some pretty self-destructive habits. I really lost myself. I was more focused on partying, on getting fucked up. I was drinking almost every single night, smoking weed all the time, doing other drugs almost every weekend. And like I said, I cared more about the next party than going to the gym. And I still showed up. I still went to the gym pretty consistently, thankfully, because I wanted to look good for the girls, right? And I still managed to keep a decent physique, but I knew I wasn't doing everything I could. And it really sucks in college. That's the hardest time, because there's this pressure from your friends, from fraternity brothers, from just everybody to fit in, to drink, to live that college experience lifestyle, right? That's what everybody calls it. And while I'm not saying to not have fun, in hindsight, definitely should have been something that you do in moderation, right? So that pressure got the best of me, as I'm sure there's a lot of other guys out there like me that can resonate with that. I expected more of myself, but I just didn't have the discipline to say no, or to do the things that I knew were the right thing to do. I didn't have the discipline to say no, and it's really hard. It was really hard back then. Fast forward to graduation, was able to graduate, obviously, right? I still took school seriously despite all of that. But, I really thought that I had it all figured out. I was like, okay, I'm done with college. I'm not going to keep drinking like this all the time, smoking weed, doing drugs. That's college stuff. I'm going to put it behind me. And I landed my dream job down in Scottsdale, Arizona, doing financial planning, wealth management, which is something that I always strived to do, always wanted to do. And so I landed that job and it felt amazing, you know, being one of the few people that landed their dream job out of college, thought that, you know, I'm going to stick with that for the rest of my life. I'm going to make it work. This is what I want to do. This is my future, right? Well, obviously that wasn't the case. You know, I still kept falling into these same cycles. I was still doing the same thing. I was going out, getting drunk every weekend. I was still smoking weed all the time. And really just bringing myself down and like I said, falling into those same destructive habits that don't do me any good. And quite frankly, that first year out of college was probably the worst. You know, my physique slipped, my confidence dropped. I just felt like shit, and honestly, I was miserable. It really sucked. And then after only a year, 1 year in that job that I thought was my dream job, I quit. It was giving me so much anxiety, this pressure to fit in, and I honestly felt like I was being somebody I wasn't. And I was just constantly anxious. I was constantly stressed about my job, about if I was doing the right thing, and eventually I just caved and I quit. And then I was just bouncing around from sales jobs. You know, I worked in financial technology. I worked at a car dealership. I was just kind of doing whatever to pay the bills, not really doing something that was fulfilling to me and that got me out of bed every morning, you know. And maybe you know that feeling too, you know, somebody out there living somebody else's dream and not your own, just doing what's right on paper, but knowing deep down that this isn't what you're meant to do and that you're meant for more. And that was me. And then came my breaking point. A year ago, I got arrested. And that moment changed everything for me. After that, I lost my job. Not too long after that, my girlfriend broke up with me. And I felt like I didn't have purpose prior to that, but after that, it was a whole different story. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I just had so many negative emotions, and I thought that my life was over at that point. But after I got out of jail, you know, I was pretty down for a little while, but then I realized that I can't live like that. I can't sulk in my own shame. You know, I have to do something about it. I knew that it was time to face myself. And as crazy as it sounds, you know, that moment was one of the better things that's happened in my entire life, if not the best, because it pushed me down an entire different path. It forced me to stop and realize that the life that I was living was not the life that I was meant to live, not the life that I wanted to live, the life that I should be living. It forced me to change. And I'll never forget that moment, you know. That was the moment that changed everything for me, and the moment that I realized that I need to start chasing something else. It also taught me resilience, it taught me strength, and it taught me that no matter your circumstance, you can always choose to focus on being a better version of yourself. And it also taught me that when shit hits the fan, you have two choices. You can either go in the corner, curl up in a ball, and cry and hide, or you can choose to face it, and you can choose to make something of it and make something of yourself and become a better version of yourself. So that made me realize that if I didn't change right now, I was going to waste all of the potential that I had. So what did I start doing? I started facing my weaknesses head on, choosing discipline over comfort. I started transforming myself. I cut out all the habits that were holding me back. I rebuilt my physique. I started focusing on my mindset and doing things to better my mind, whether it be journaling, meditating, growing closer with my relationship to God. Every single day I showed up and did these things. and I still do them to this day. And as time went on, I started to get clarity. I started to feel that shift of becoming a better person. And even prior to all of this, my brother and I had always wanted to start our own business based around health and fitness, because that's truly, at the end of the day, what we're passionate about, we're knowledgeable about, and something that we know that we can make happen, right? So after all this, it wasn't just a dream or something that we're going to do one day when we get the chance, when we get around to it, right? It became our mission to put our minds together and to build something that we're proud of. So we focused on taking everything that we've learned over the years from these experiences, from college, from the rest, from everything that we learned. We wanted to turn it into something that we could help other men with, help other men get out of the same position that we were in, or just improve themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it may be. We wanted to take what we learned and serve other people. And that's the foundation that ATNIP Performance was built on. Not just a passion for fitness, but the belief that no matter where you are in life, what struggles you're facing, you can always take action. You can always do something to get out of it, to become a better version of yourself. Out of the belief that no matter where you are in life, what struggles you're facing, you can take control and you can rewrite your story. When I really started working on myself again, I realized something that I had lost, and it was training. Training, even when I was in college and I was drinking too much, or at my lowest points, training was always there for me. I knew that it was the one thing I could do that would take my mind off of all the negative thoughts. I could just go in there and focus on lifting. It was like my favorite thing to do, and it still is one of my favorite things to do. And I realized why I like it so much. It gives you structure, it gives you discipline, it gives you goals and something to work for, right? It gives you so many things that just drinking and not having purpose or a vision for yourself doesn't give you. It was around this time that I started to find my love for endurance sports again. I wasn't always just weightlifting, trying to get big in the gym and trying to look my best. I'm an endurance athlete as well. I raced mountain bikes, I race road bikes, I do triathlons, I do marathons. Like, after this stuff happened, I started running again. I started riding my bike a lot more. I started signing up for races. I started doing triathlons again, swimming. I started finding these things that brought me real dopamine and real happiness and real purpose. I started finding them again, and I realized just how much better they make your life than drinking and feeling like shit all the time. You know what I mean? So it was really, I guess blissful is a good word to describe it, on how I felt to find myself again, to find the things that I truly love, and like I said, that bring me purpose. The other thing with endurance sports is they teach you how to suffer. They teach you how to push through pain when every ounce of your body wants to quit, whether it be running, whether it be long distance cycling. These things are not easy, and they teach you true discipline and true grit, and just to push through when basically every ounce of you wants to give up, right? And this is really when it all clicked. Fitness wasn't just a hobby, it was a passion. It was the one thing that grounded me and made me see my true colors. And it shaped who I was, because that's the type of discipline that flows over into other parts of your life. Like I said earlier, that's when my brother and I's vision became clear, was to take everything that we've learned over the years and serve other men, help other people to achieve things that might be beyond their wildest dreams, right? Some things that people maybe never thought that they could accomplish. And never thought that they could get out of this rut of abusing substances, of feeling anxious, feeling depressed all the time. It's possible. I've done it. So, our vision, isn't just to build stronger men through workout plans and nutrition, but it's helping them become better in every single area of life. Mental resiliency, physical health, mental health, physically through endurance and strength training, mentally through discipline and resilience, spiritually through purpose and clarity, and even financially. I have a background in finance, and that's one area that I know a lot of people struggle in is finances, and that's something that I can help with. So we're creating a brotherhood, a group of guys, a group of men who push each other, who help hold each other accountable, who truly want the best for themselves and those around them. In the same way that my brother and I always pushed each other and wanted to see each other win, we want to help you guys win. ATNIP Performance isn't about quick fixes and putting band-aids on things. It's about creating a lifestyle and a mindset that actually lasts. No surface level bullshit. At the end of the day, this isn't just about fitness for me, right? My brother and I, we know what it feels like to feel stuck, anxious, depressed, partying all the time, knowing that you're meant for more, but you don't know how to take action. You don't know where to start. I've been there. And I also know what it feels like to take action, to turn your life around, to start building discipline and start taking steps to become somebody that your past self would be proud of. And that's really why I do this. Because I know what it feels like to be lost. And I know when I was lost, I would kill to have somebody to hold me accountable and to tell me the steps I need to take and to show me that it's all gonna be okay. You can get yourself out of this rut. You can become a better version of yourself. You can become a better man and somebody that you would look up to. And that's what drives me. That's what freaking drives me, man, is seeing people that I've already helped realize their potential and step into this new version of themselves and prove to themselves that they can do it. Seeing men step into their potential and realize that they're capable of way more than they ever thought possible. It's just so amazing, and I'm truly blessed to be able to do this. That's why ATNIP Performance exists. So looking ahead, the goal is simple. Build a community, build a brotherhood, and help men take control of some of the most important aspects of their lives. Fitness, health, and discipline. It's not just surface level. It's the foundation of what we do. When you build your body, you build your mind. When you build discipline, you build confidence. When you take control of those aspects of your life, it bleeds into other areas, whether it be relationships, friendships, your career, your finances even. Whatever it may be, you'll start to notice a difference. This isn't just about me or my brother. This is about just building something that lasts, building something that truly has an impact on other people's lives. That's the future that my brother and I see, and we're just getting started. So, all that being said, my story isn't perfect. I know there's a lot of other coaches out there that paint themselves to be perfect, that have the answers to everything, that just look like they live a perfect life and have never messed up, right? The epitome, the poster child of, a perfect man. And I think that's what really separates my brother and I, is that we're not perfect. We'll never be perfect, right? We're not preaching perfection. We preach progress. That's the point. I've made mistakes. I've gotten off track. I've made stupid decisions, but I've fought my way back on track. Through all of it, I've learned that no matter where you are, what circumstances you're facing, you can still take control. You can change, and you can become a stronger version. You can become the strongest version of yourself. And that's what we're building at ATNIP Performance. If my story resonates with you, if you've ever felt stuck, if you ever felt like you're just capable of more, this is your sign. Join my brother and I, join the Brotherhood, and let's build something bigger together, because this is just the beginning.